It's Wednesday, December 18th, and this is Now on HNN.
Today is going to be a lot of things. What it is not is fair.
A historic vote in the House on impeachment. I'm Natalie Brand on Capitol Hill with the final hours of debate.
He broke our laws. He threatened our security.
With costs in the millions, the state finally reaches an agreement on police overtime at Mauna Kea. Plus, severe weather hits the Northeast while recovery efforts continue in the South after a string of deadly tornadoes.
It did sound like a freight train.
And the Centers for Disease Control says playing with puppies at the pet store could give you food poisoning. Coming up on This Is Now.
Hey everyone, it's Jonathan and Ashley here. Thanks for watching This Is Now. I know we've had the live streams up all morning of what's happening in the House with the expected vote, expecting to happen at any moment now, but we want to get you caught up on everything that's happened so far this morning, so that's why we've broken away from that live coverage for just a moment and get you caught up on that and all the other news of the day.
That's right. So you've been watching. There's been hours of debate and fiery exchanges as the House prepares to vote to impeach President Trump for alleged abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. Now, Trump would be just the third president in U.S. history to be impeached, and he would then face a trial in the Republican-controlled Senate. So Natalie Brand has the latest from Capitol Hill.
He gave us no choice.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi solemnly opened the debate before the full House votes on the impeachment of President Trump.
His actions warrant his impeachment and demand his removal from office.
The House is considering two articles, abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. Democrats argue the president pressured Ukraine to announce an investigation into his political rival, Joe Biden.
He tried to cheat. He got caught. He confessed. And then he obstructed the investigation into his misconduct.
I rise in opposition to impeaching the president.
Republicans closed ranks to defend the president and criticize Democrats.
95 of the Democrats on this floor today voted to impeach Donald Trump before the July 25th phone call ever happened between President Trump and President Zelensky.
Lawmakers are debating for 6 hours, split equally between Democrats and Republicans before they vote separately on each article.
President Trump fired off an angry tweet in all capital letters, calling the impeachment an assault on America and an assault on the Republican Party. His advisor, Kellyanne Conway, arrived for a Senate luncheon and insisted the president is feeling just fine.
His mood is fine. The president's doing great. He's had some of the most successful weeks of his presidency these last few weeks.
President Trump has a rally in Michigan this evening around the same time the House is expected to vote, largely along party lines. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Now, here's something that's going viral from this morning's debate. Congressman Mike Kelly, he's a Republican from Pennsylvania, he compared the president's impeachment to the attack on Pearl Harbor. Let's listen in.
Okay.
Christmas being something we celebrate, the Boston Tea Party took place in December, but also on December 7th, 1941, a horrific act happened in the United States, and it's one that President Roosevelt said, this is a date that will live in infamy. Today, December the 18th, 2019, is another date that will live in infamy. When just because you hate the President of the United States and you can find no other reason other than the fact that you're so blinded by your hate that you can't see straight, that you've decided the only way we can make sure this president doesn't get elected again is to impeach him.
Now, Washington Post journalist Aaron Blake says the impeachment has also been compared to the Salem witch trials and Jesus' crucifixion.
All right, heated debate happening there still in the House. Again, we're going to bring you live coverage from the floor coming up as soon as this newscast is over. We got a lot of other news to get to. Also, we're going to have continuing coverage coming up tonight in our evening newscast as well.
So back here at home, a deal for the state to reimburse Hawaii County Police for overtime related to Mauna Kea is official, but the time frame for the agreement is raising some eyebrows. Here's Mahealani Richardson.
Well, the agreement lasts 5 years, and it is significant because lawmakers say it's the first time they've seen how long government could be spending money on protest law enforcement. But the Attorney General's office says the figure is simply a placeholder.
We are Mauna Kea, and we stand.
The protest against the 30-meter telescope at Mauna Kea started in mid-July. It took the state and county to November 1st to sign their written agreement on how the state will reimburse the county for police overtime relating to the blockade. Hawaii News Now obtained the agreement, which says it will remain in effect for 5 years and will be terminated once the joint operation to response to the TMT protests has ended. Big Island Council Finance Chair Miley David says the time frame is the first she's seen.
I don't know why it's so long to tie in county police services for that long. I think it's an anticipation that or an expectation that this may go on for 5 years. I don't know.
Public Safety Chair Senator Clarence Nishihara says the 5-year window allows state and county leaders to delay the stalemate into the next administration.
My guess is, looking at the fact that it says 5 years, that most of these people, like the mayor and the governor certainly, will be out of office by then. So it won't be their problem.
But the Attorney General's office says the 5 years is simply a placeholder and that the agreement can end sooner.
Come together for the mountain!
So far, state and county costs have been roughly $11.6 million, with about half coming from Hawaii County. Hawaii News Now just obtained a Department of Public Safety procurement request to extend a contract for rental of four-wheel drive trucks and vans, January 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2020. The amount, nearly $318,000.
The council is once again taking up a measure for the state to essentially give Hawaii County a $10 million grant. Councilwoman David said that would work like a line of credit for law enforcement. Mahealani Richardson, Hawaii News Now.
Now that hearing Mahea just mentioned is happening right now in Kona, and many activists are present to voice their concerns. Let's listen in.
So it is a bold step for you to turn away this money. But it's an important one, and it's an important message to the state that you will not be held hostage to their unconscionable and immoral actions, because that's what this is.
Noi Wong Wilson speaking just a short time ago. We're going to keep following what happens in the hearing and, of course, bring you the latest on air and online.
All right, let's get you outside right now. The time is now 12:25. Again, we're coming to you a little bit late today because of the impeachment debate happening on the floor, but looking outside, a beautiful day, just a few clouds. I understand the wind's still sticking around today, along with a little bit of surf. Let's check in with Guy with the latest.
How's it on this Wednesday? I'm Guy Hoggy with your HawaiiNewsNow.com forecast. The trade winds will back down a notch today. They'll still run at breezy levels, about 15 to 20 miles an hour across the state, but they'll be much slower than yesterday and the day before. But keep in mind, we've got more strong winds on the way for the weekend. For today, we've got moderate trade winds, a few wind and Mauna showers, not a whole lot of rain out there. We're going to have really nice conditions today and tomorrow. Surf's on the way down. High surf advisories have been tossed out. The Billabong Pipeline Masters is postponed. They'll try again tomorrow, but there's a rising swell tonight. Tomorrow looks good to wrap up that championship, crown a world champion, and also choose a Olympic competitor from the U.S. between Kelly Slater and John Florence. Go John. A high surf advisory posted for the east side where it's going to be rough and choppy. So again, fair conditions today and tomorrow. Very windy conditions, maybe dangerous wind conditions Friday and Saturday as the winds really jump up to advisory levels, if not beyond. Wind advisories and alerts will likely be posted. We could get power outages right about this time. And then the winds back off slightly as a cold front moves in. They also switch to the south. We could get bouts of heavy rain from Sunday through Tuesday, maybe even some spotty thunderstorms. Keep it here on Hawaii News Now. We'll have all your severe weather updates.
Thank you, Guy.
All right, to severe weather now on the mainland. Snow and ice are pummeling the northeast, while recovery efforts continue in the deep south after a string of deadly tornadoes ripped through 3 states. Here's Morgan Chesky with the latest.
This morning, this is all that's left of the Hope Baptist School. The building flattened in seconds, crushed Monday by one of the 24 reported tornadoes to sweep through the south.
It could have went so much differently yesterday.
Pastor Rusty Thrift says it all came down to a crucial few minutes. He helped teachers rush students into the neighboring church as that tornado roared closer.
It did sound like a freight train, and I saw the ceiling tiles in the lobby begin to lift up.
The 18 kids huddling in hallways and dashing under pews for safety. The twister ripping the church's roof right off in just a few seconds. The school, a total loss.
If you don't bring those kids out of the school,
there are no kids. If we don't bring those kids out of the school, it's a search and rescue.
Louisiana's governor's saying it's a miracle more people weren't killed.
It's going to be a while before everybody's lives are back to normal, but everything that we saw today can be fixed.
One tornado caught on camera in Guntown, Mississippi, leaving piles of debris behind. To the east in Alabama, another fast-moving twister, leveling one home after another, tearing through entire neighborhoods. And in Mystic, Georgia, twisted metal scattered on lawns as the deadly winds left no home in its path untouched. Up north, folks digging out from a different kind of storm, caught in the middle of a frigid holiday mess.
I think we got way too much and it's only December.
Heavy snow and ice causing travel nightmares. The storm system now responsible for 11 deaths across the Midwest.
Man, those scenes there, especially in the South, we saw that house just ripped apart and the Christmas tree is still standing there in the living room. It's amazing what gets touched and what doesn't when you're talking about tornadoes. I mean, we wish everyone the best, and it's just such a sad to see that happening in the holiday season.
You lived in the Midwest. You grew up in the Midwest. Did you have to deal with tornadoes a lot?
Yeah, there was often tornado warnings, and especially it was more typical in spring, of course. You know, March is when it usually gets going. But my hometown is actually known for having the Tri-State tornado, which goes down in history in 1922, the most deadly tornado in American history, actually. So Murfreesboro, Illinois, that's a little bit of that town history where I grew up.
Wow.
Yeah. So when you hear the sirens and stuff, it always gave me chills and still does when I'm there. So we got some news coming from the CDC.
Yeah, so the Centers for Disease Control says playing with puppies at the pet store could give you food poisoning. The CDC is linking an outbreak of the bacteria Campylobacter to puppies. The bacteria is most commonly transmitted by eating undercooked poultry. Now, most of the 30 people infected with the antibiotic-resistant strain of the disease reported recent contact with puppies at a Petland store. Now, experts say even a healthy-looking dog can carry and transmit the disease. They recommend washing your hands thoroughly after touching any puppy or dog. Now, puppies at Petland were linked to a similar outbreak in 2017 that sickened more than 100 people in 17 states.
Oh man, you don't want to hear that. A lot of people are going to
That's
get
so
getting
sad.
puppies for the holiday as well. You know, this next story, I loved hearing this because it's one local business helping out another. It's really getting into that spirit we want to see.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
Yep, so back here at home, Zippy's has announced a sweet deal that will help save about 20 local jobs. Here's Lacey Denise.
Zippy's has announced a new deal that will keep nearly 40,000 gallons of locally produced ice cream right here in the islands. The company has agreed to keep serving Dave's ice cream, which will help the Oahu company stay in business after losing its production contract with Metal Gold Dairies. This new deal essentially cuts out the middlemen, so Dave's will directly provide ice cream to all of Zippy's 24 restaurants. Metal Gold planned to import ice cream from a Utah plant, which would have severely impacted Dave's business, forcing him to slash jobs. Dave's president and CEO Dave Leong said, quote, "I'm just trying to keep my staff employed during the holidays, and as long as I have a few more local companies like Zippy's to jump on board, my 20 employees will continue to have jobs. I can't thank Zippy's enough for their help and association." The new contract goes into effect immediately.
Thank you, Lacey. And again, see, that's what we want to see more of. Help each other out. Real quick, what's your Zippy's go-to?
Oh, chili chicken, of course.
Hey, that's okay. Mine is chili and grilled cornbread every time almost.
Yum.
Yes. Or the Korean fried chicken.
For
So
sure,
good.
yeah. Well, you have to commend Zippy's for that. They're a company that's known for, helping out local businesses, other local businesses, even if it will cost more for them. And so that's just great.
Yeah. Go Zippy's. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I will be by there soon for that cornbread. Thank you. All right. Other news happening this morning there at Pearl Harbor.
We have new details on the plans to commemorate the 75th anniversary of the end of World War II next year.
So I'm looking very much forward to the celebration, which is ultimately what it will be, and what it's meant to the freedom of the Indo-Pacific and the idea of a free and open Indo-Pacific going forward.
Now, the war officially ended on September 2nd, 1945, with Japan's formal surrender on board the USS Missouri, which was anchored in Tokyo Bay at the time. Just a short time ago here at home, a ceremony was held on the famous battleship, which is now at Pearl Harbor, where dignitaries and members of the community gathered to announce the creation of a committee to oversee the events next year. Now, Governor Ige also signed a proclamation to officially form the committee, and that's a step required in order to have the federal funds help to cover the costs of the events.
All right, we're still talking food here this morning.
I know, this was surprising to me.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this actually, but let's tell everyone what it's about.
So Grubhub, it's the online and mobile ordering and delivery company. They listed the top foods of 2019 by analyzing tens of millions of orders. So the dish that most people ordered this year was cauliflower pizza.
Oh, okay.
I like cauliflower pizza, but that surprises me.
But I don't think it's the most popular food item of the year.
Well, Grubhub says
but it's the increase
the
rate.
popularity rose 650% this year.
Okay.
And in fact, there were 7 vegetarian and vegan dishes in the top 10, including spicy Brussels sprouts, portobello empanadas, and vegan pad thai.
Ooh, vegan pad thai. It looks like the popularity is going healthy though,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So,
which still is surprising to me. I mean, Americans, you know,
pizza,
us Americans.
I know. My Grubhub is like, I mean, I go to it for not the best foods in the world. I've been ordering a lot of Uber Eats Indian food from Maharani. Shout out. But really good stuff there. Yeah, that's what I had last time.
Something I was surprised to see on the list of the top 10 was boba tea.
Like, yeah.
Do people do that?
Yeah, I have seen it on Uber Eats actually. I saw 2 different places advertising. I think it's more for like when you have a company, so you order it for everyone.
That makes sense.
But you can order it late in the night though. I've noticed that too. So people like their bubble tea.
Very interesting.
All right, we're talking vintage, secondhand. Some people are into it, like me. Some people not so into it.
Yep, so there's an emerging shopping trend this holiday season of previously owned gifts. So a growing number of shoppers are looking for secondhand items, and major store brands are taking notice. Janet Shamlian explains.
Some may raise an eyebrow, but secondhand gifting has come into its own this holiday season. And this warehouse in the San Francisco area is proof that brands like REI and Patagonia are taking notice. Some 50,000 like new or slightly used items up for secondary sale. And holiday demand is unprecedented.
Overflowing with everything from ski boots to winter coats and every sporting good imaginable. Yurtle is a bargain lover's dream. But you can't shop here, even though many of these customer returns are as good as new.
Usually there's scuffs and scratches, but this one's in perfect condition.
Yeah. Seeing a big market opportunity, brands like REI and Patagonia have gotten into the game of reselling their own used products on websites like REI Used and Patagonia's Worn Wear. But Yurtle does all the work.
What's the discount on something like that?
It's probably 50% of what somebody would have paid had they found it just like this in a store.
Andy Rubin created Yurtle when he saw the secondary clothing market growing more than 20 times faster than the primary one.
These are beautiful items. They're made to be worn. This should be out on the town, not sitting in a closet, right?
Everything here is refreshed, then photographed.
The goal is to make sure like the colors are accurate.
This women's fleece pullover was styled for Patagonia's Worn Wear site hours after it came in. It might end up under the tree. That's because a new study finds secondhand gifting gaining broad acceptance. 48% saying they'd consider giving a used item. Even more, 56%, say they'd welcome one.
These stigmas from years ago are changing, and they're changing quickly. I think once anyone experiences this, you realize that there's just a smarter way to utilize the things we've already made, right? To get more use out of these things.
The shift in behavior led by millennials, citing affordability, concerns about the environment, and sustainability.
Do you see this? Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness.
Jamie Tsai is a social media influencer known as Hella Jam, who posts videos on thrifting at places like Goodwill.
How would you feel about getting a secondhand gift? Send them all to me. Absolutely. I rarely ever buy fast fashion items because of the fact that it's so terrible for the environment. And it's way more unique to have secondhand items.
The struggling retail industry is getting that message. Madewell, in some of its stores, has partnered with ThreadUp to sell used jeans for $50 a pair, right next to its new denim.
Fast fashion is really a broken system. I think it's a way to be much more creative. I think it's a way to get great value.
Secondhand doesn't necessarily mean inexpensive. The Real, a luxury reseller, has pre-owned handbags topping $40,000.
We just saw a Chanel bag, the small one over there, which is very nice. My mom really liked it, so we'll see, we might get it.
No longer unthinkable. A used gift comes with something a new item can never offer: a bit of history.
Everything we have has a story, and so you can think about all the possible stories that that item has and the stories that it will have when you give it to somebody else.
Almost 20% of what's in here is actually sold the same day it's listed. And the dramatic increase in sales over the past couple of weeks tells them these are holiday purchases destined for under the tree.
Whoa, that's some statistics in that story.
I love that.
Yeah, I am a big secondhand shopper. I really love the hunt. Love when I find that treasure no one else is gonna have.
And the deal.
Yeah, and my Aloha shirt collection is growing and growing and
You
growing.
have some great vintage Aloha shirts too.
I know. That's one of my favorite things to collect, and I really love the
And
prints.
it's a big movement. Like, celebrities are getting behind it too. You know, they say it's about sustainability. You don't have to buy new things anymore.
Yeah, and a lot of those big box retailers, the fast fashion ones they were mentioning, it is true. I recently bought a tank top, lasted 2 washings, and then the seams just went right away. You know what? I even heard on Marketplace the other day on NPR that even stores like JCPenney's is going to get into this movement, this secondhand movement.
Yeah, there's so many apps out there too, like Poshmark,
Yeah,
Rent the Runway. A lot of us here at Hawaii News Now do it, and yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I always liked the store on the mainland, Buffalo Exchange
Oh,
too. I would
yes.
shop there all the time. Arizona, they had a couple of them. It was really cool. Speaking of a blast from the past, I'm so happy about this.
Yes, me too. So nearly 25 years after Gary Larson retired his iconic single-panel cartoon, The Far Side, which ran daily in newspapers, the comic strip is back, this time on the internet. Now, the official website for The Far Side launched today with a selection of those classic cartoons and doodles, as well as never before seen sketches. Now, 2020, next year, marks the 40th anniversary of The Far Side, and Larson says the site will celebrate by occasionally premiering brand new work.
I love this. And this just in, apparently the grass does grow greener on the other side, is what that comic strip says there that we're looking at. But we were talking comics. I mean, I was a Garfield fan. You were a Garfield fan.
Yep.
Strangely, you liked Archie.
Why is that strange?
I don't know. No one likes Archie? I'm sorry. I'm kidding. A lot of people do. I know they made the whole spin-off show. I'm well aware.
I mean,
Please
when
don't blow up
I was
at me
younger, I
on
loved
comments.
Archie, and then, you know, I got into The Far Side, you know, Calvin and Hobbes.
Far Side was awesome. It was so clever. I really loved it. Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah, I have such great memories of, like, waiting for Sunday to come around and get the Sunday paper with the comics. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't picked up a paper in so long. I don't even know if the comics are in it. I'm sure they still are. I'm always online. I know it would be interesting to see if they take off, and we'll get another wave of like young viewers of those comic strips that get really into
Well, I can't
them.
wait to see what Gary Larson does with like today's issues and today's, you know, trends and.
Yeah, he wasn't even dealing with the internet back then, so he has like a whole line of new jokes, smartphones, everything. All right, you guys, that's going to do it for us today. I'm going to leave you with the shot. You can see there's still a debate going on the House floor. We are going to rejoin coverage of this as soon as this live stream ends, so if you just want to hang tight with us there on Facebook, if you're watching us there, we are going to bring this back for you. So until then, we'll see you tomorrow with what exactly happens here, and of course we'll have the updates coming up on our evening shows as well.
Resolve to do what is right and not what is politically expedient. Resolve to stand with the president at the White House last week, and resolve to stand up to the president in this House today.